Shelley, it's Friday and I'm back. Sorry it has been so long. Had a little bit of a break over the winter period while I've not been very well, but I'm here. I am back. Hopefully our regular arrangement shall resume. The very first Dear Shelley of 2017. I know, bad vlogger, considering it's mid-February. Yes, 2017 is upon us and I've already had quite a lot of crazy things happen to me. Hence today's vlog, which will hopefully be the first of many Sophia's story time. So let's get back to January and the story of my new broken car. Now, as you might remember, back in October, November time, we lost our little Nissan Micra. It's been faithful and loyal to us for so many years, but it finally died. So after much searching and praying, we managed to find a replacement car, a little Vauxhall Aguila called Cristida Aguila. See what we did there. It's a fantastic little run around, excellent. It's a little bit boxy, but it did its job. That was until one fateful day in January. So as per my job, I was off doing some pet sitting away in Heckington. It's about 5 miles outside of Sleaford, looking after some lovely little dogs and some cats and, you know, doing my job basically. The weather was atrocious. I don't know if you remember, but there was a period in January where it was really cold. There wasn't any snow or anything, but it was freezing, getting to like -4 during the day. I hadn't been anywhere that day, so I decided to have a bit of a pyjama day. Comfies, which for me is my pyjamas. Don't judge me. I stayed in my pyjamas all day. I'm sure everybody's done that at some point in their lives. This particular day, it was the meeting night. And so I'd left my meeting clothes at the flat. So the decision was that I would drive to the flat, get changed, have tea and go to the meeting. Now, being fundamentally lazy, I decided that I would not change out of my comfies, my pyjamas, don't judge me, and I would travel in my pyjamas and get changed there, and that would be fine. I figured, what was the point in getting changed out of my pyjamas into street clothes only to get changed when I got to the flat into meeting clothes? What was the point? I put a big blue jumper on and it covered it fine and nobody was going to see me. I was just going to, get in the car, drive to the flat, get out of the flat, no one will see me, it'll be fine, don't judge me. So I set off and within a couple of minutes the car started making this really weird noise. A little bit like a kettle boiling, like a high whistling, like, but really loud. And I started to think, what on earth is going on? I know it had been really cold the night before. It'd been like the coldest night so far in January. So I thought maybe it was just the car warming up a bit. As I got onto the dual carriageway, that's when I realised something was really, really wrong. It started rattling, the noise got louder. There was no warning lights or anything, or engine lights, so I didn't know exactly what was going on. But then steam started pouring out of the engine and smoke, and that's when I started to have a little bit of panic. Because I realised I was now on the dual carriageway, and it's very hard to just pull over to the side of the dual carriageway. Luckily, there's a little turning off towards Sleaford, very close to the entrance of the dual carriageway. So I thought I'll just pull off here, park at the side of the road. It's probably overheated because of the weather. I'll let it cool down and then I'll be able to drive the rest of the way home. It's only about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from Sleaford at this point. Pulled off the dual carriageway with steam billowing out of the engine, and suddenly when I get to the junction it just dies. No power when I put my foot down, nothing when I turn the key, it won't start. So I'm like, it's okay, it's fine, it's okay Sophia, just breathe. It's, these things happen, it's probably overheated. So I stick my hazard lights on, go around the front, open the bonnet. First time I'd managed to open the bonnet successfully without the help of my dad. So I was quite impressed with that. But it's at this moment that I realise I don't have my phone. I check my pockets frantically and then I remember that I'd left it charging at home. The car doesn't actually start again what on earth am I going to do? Because I have no contact with anybody. I can bonnet and hope that someone will have mercy on me. But no cars passed me, none at all, for a good 20-25 minutes. And I start to have a little bit of freak out, and I contemplate the idea of possibly running the last 2 miles to Sleaford in order to get help. But I don't know whether you can tell, but I don't run. The idea went out the window pretty quickly. My only other option was to hitchhike and possibly get some help by flagging down any vehicles that pass. As I say though, up to this point, no vehicles have passed me, so I start to think that it's not going to happen. But just as I start to lose hope, a car rolls up to the junction with a lovely lady and a daughter, poor unsuspecting people as they are, as I'm waving frantically in a big blue jumper, still wearing my pyjamas, and by this point my hair is crazy because I've been stood out in the wind and I'm looking a little bit dishevelled and insane. So for the reason they stopped for me, I have no idea, because I would have driven straight past me, quite frankly. But being lovely as they are, they rolled down the window and gave me a little bit of a look like, what on earth's this woman on? She stood in the middle of the street in her pyjamas, but you know, don't worry about it. I put my best take pity on me face on, and I just said, please, is there any chance, I've broken down and I have left my phone at home, is there any chance that you have a phone that I could use, that I could borrow just to contact someone so I could get help? And her daughter sort of shared a look as if to say, now this could either be someone genuinely in distress or a really elaborate way to steal our phone. But I think they came to the correct conclusion and very kindly gave me their phone to use. Side note at this point, in this technological age, everything we know about our lives and all information is pretty much stored on our phones, because then we don't have to remember any of it. As such, I don't remember any of our phone numbers anymore. I used to know everybody's phone numbers. These days I haven't got a clue. So when I was faced with a stranger's phone in my hand, the only number that could call to mind was our landline number. So I frantically dial and I stand there for what feels like an eternity while the phone rings, feeling very awkward as these poor ladies have had to wait. I've stopped them on their journey to wherever they were going to ring home. And the phone rings and rings and rings for an impossibly long time, and I'm stood there very nervously waiting and anticipating, please somebody pick up, please, please, please pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. It's at this point that I realised that Jaden earlier that week had unplugged the landline phone because he suspected it might be interfering with our internet connection. So it didn't matter how long it was going to ring, no one was going to answer it because there was no phone plugged into it. So I turn to the ladies and I say, thank you very much, no one's answering, unfortunately. Do you want to call a breakdown service? Already feeling like the shame and awkwardness meter has been sufficiently filled, I have no fear in what I did next. You know, I'm feeling a little bit confident at this point that these women will not just abandon me in my pyjamas at the side of the road. So I say, no, any chance that you're heading into Sleaford? To which they both looked at me and decided okay, and gestured me to get in the back of their car. So very nicely they drove me into Sleaford. I was so like, it's a very British thing, you don't like to put on people, but I was feeling sufficiently awkward and that I had annoyed these ladies enough at this point that as soon as we got into Sleaford I said, oh, just drop me off here, which was the park down Boston Road, which is close enough for me to get home but far enough away that it was still going to take me a little while to get actually back to the flat. So they very nicely dropped me off. They were lovely ladies, I don't know where they are, but thank you, you saved my life. And I ran all the way from Boston Park to the flat, knowing that my car had been abandoned on its own at the side of the road, or on a junction. You know, there was room for cars to go around it, but it was nevertheless a bit of an obstruction at this point. So the longer I was away from it, the more I was freaking out that something was going to happen to it, or the police were going to turn up and tow it away. Ran all the way to the flat, and as I said before, I don't run. So when I got to the flat, I was a mess. My hair was crazy, I was breathless, I was red and sweaty. Amelia didn't know what was going on. I couldn't breathe, I was like, I was a mess. Frantically, I grabbed the phone and I ring Dad. And obviously he answers it and he doesn't know what's going on. somebody could have been dying the way I was going on, because I was freaked out and panicking about the car, and I was completely out of breath from running. So he just went, "It's okay, it's fine, whatever it is, I'll come round now." Thank goodness. Now, in my brain, I figured that the car was overheated, so I thought it needs water. I had no receptacle, no bottle, nothing to put water into. So the first thing I grabbed, knowing that Dad's going to be here any minute, was the kettle. I filled the kettle to the top, I closed the kettle, and I ran down into the street and stood on the other side of the road waiting for Dad to pick us up. It's at this point that I realised I'm stood outside in my pyjamas still, holding now a kettle. If I didn't look crazy before, I definitely look crazy now. Dad picked me up, took us all the way to the car. Luckily, nothing had happened to it. It was fine where it was. We tried everything. We tried putting water in it, tried starting it again, tried jump starting it, nothing. It just wasn't having any. By this point, a police van did turn up, and he just leaned out the window and asked if we were okay. At this point, Dad had attained that it was going to need to be towed. And I said, "It's okay, my Dad's towing me." He looked across the way and said, "Oh, must be a day for it." And I turned around to see about 200 yards away, just up the road, another car had just pulled over with smoke billowing out of the engine. So it must have been the day for it, unfortunately. So by this point, I was pretty ticked off. It was freezing, I was still in my pyjamas, and the car was no longer working. Bit of an annoying day. So after a very nerve-wracking tow back to my mum and dad's house, it was later ascertained that the poor Christina Aguila had gone to the great parking space in the sky. Amelia then later said to me that there was a lot of things about that situation that I probably could have done better, i.e. Taking my phone with me and getting dressed probably would have helped. Also putting water in the engine, you know, an antifreeze so that it doesn't explode in cold weather. Also good ideas. Yeah, so there's a lot of lessons to be learned from my story. But as with every sad ending, there is a new beginning. And after much searching and a few weeks without a car, I managed to find a new baby. Let me introduce you to Fifi.